start.
Hi everyone, welcome to Buyer Conversion Boot Camp. It's pretty simple. Why are we teaching Buyer Conversion Boot Camp? Because you all work with buyers, right? That's all part of your business plans, to work with buyers, and especially agents who, whose listing business, and that's the highest and best use of a real estate agent, is to get listings, but whose listing business hasn't taken flight just yet. Most of you are going to be dealing with a lot of buyers, and so that is a wonderful way to build a big business, and that's why we're teaching it to you today. So what are we teaching you today? We're teaching you an intentional and proactive way to get into a relationship with buyers. Okay? We're teaching you to move into relationships with serious buyers, and that's a key word, buyers who are serious, because not all of them are. And I don't think anybody who's been working with them for any amount of time disagrees with that. And this class teaches you how to keep buyers focused on getting the home they want, and this is something to remember, more importantly, want the home they get, okay? And that's something to memorize, saying that, because I'm telling you, when that's said with a smile on your face and confidence, your buyers are going to love hearing that. Okay, now we are making an assumption here that you've already generated a buyer lead. That means you found somebody who's communicated to you that they're in the market to buy a house. And now you are trying to turn that person from just a lead into a loyal client to you, okay? And a serious buyer, okay? So that's what we're doing today. So let's just jump right in. Okay, so the course overview, we're teaching you an intentional, proactive, and focused approach for helping buyers find and purchase their perfect home. Lots of key words there, right? Intentional, proactive, and focused approach. Okay, that's what we're doing here. You have now a system. Every single buyer can be plugged into your system. Okay? Expectation is that upon completing this class, you should feel confident enough to enter working relationships with serious buyers. Now, I want to point out something right here. Serious wasn't in the purpose. It was in the expectation. Can anybody guess, or does anybody know, why they notate serious buyers in the expectation? No?
Because you really want to work with serious buyers?
Yes, that's true. But we could have put that here to teach an intentional, proactive, and focused approach for helping serious buyers, but they didn't. They put that in the expectation where they said you are going to feel confident enough to work with serious buyers. What does that have to do with your confidence? Because it's you guys who have to make the decision and the determination whether or not they are serious. Okay? Because they're all going to be serious when they're talking to your face. It doesn't mean they're all going to operate that way. Right? In their mind, they're serious. How many buyers out there do you think, no, I'm just going to play around with you, Jason. No, we're just going to go look at some stuff. It'll be fun. Right? Buyers aren't going to say that to you. So you have to have the confidence to figure out who's serious and who isn't. That's why that's specifically there in the expectation. Okay? So the result, we'll go over the result on the next page, but it's additional closings. Right? Our plan is you're going to be finding buyers through open houses, networking, and farming, and any other way you find a buyer, right? And those are new referral repeats, and this is where we're starting with this class, right? We're turning them into buyers. We're doing a good job for them in our client care systems, and we're turning them into more marketing and more business, word of mouth, and that sort of thing, okay? And the strategy we're using is the relationship-based selling method. And obviously the key word there is relationship, right? We're creating win-win relationships with these buyers. These buyers have to understand this is a win-win, okay? And mainly because for them, their win is finding the house they want, right? But they don't give a crap about your win. So this is where it becomes more important. Usually real estate agents operate like, I'm going to win no matter what happens to you. But in the buying situation, often it's the buyer who's operating that way. We just need to make sure it's a win for both of us. Okay, the financial consequences, we'll just go over this quickly. Obviously, you guys at this point know the difference between consistent, efficient, and proficient. That means how good you are, right? How often you've done it, how many times you've learned and gotten better, and the better you get, the quicker you go from consistent, efficient to proficient. But let's just look at being consistent. Okay, 45 weeks in the year, if you can set just one meeting a week with a buyer, that's 45 meetings a week set with a buyer. If only 50% of those people show up, that's 23 meetings with a buyer. 50% of those people don't even qualify. Okay, so that's only 12 new buyers you found this year. right? And 75% of those people are going to buy, which means you've had 9 closings, right? So having this proactive system means at least 9 additional closings if all you're doing is setting up 1 meeting with a buyer a week. That's all you got to do, okay? Obviously, the better you get at that, the higher you're going to increase those odds. Okay, now, the planning page. We're using the relationship-based selling method. That's what we're doing, okay? What we need to know, like usual, is a bunch of dialogue, okay? You want to set yourself apart, you're doing that through the dialogue. What you need to have, mainly common sense stuff, right? You need a criteria sheet, my role, your role, buyer's rep agreement. We have all that here for you, okay? As usual, we have a check your attitude page, okay? And these are very important when dealing with buyers. Very important. I believe strongly that if this is, what is inside of you, you absolutely believe these things, then it makes these conversations that much easier because it's just the way you're going to operate. You don't need the script because naturally you're going to say these things because you actually believe that way, right? It defines your choices. So that's what's going to happen. So I live in a world of abundance. Let's start from the beginning there because that's a huge one when it deals with buyers. Jason, we might have talked about this before, but why I live in a world of abundance and how is that relevant to working with buyers? How is that belief something that you need to have?
Ago, but I do remember talking about it. I just don't remember.
Well, why do you think?
I don't know. I would say that there's abundance of information.
Well, there certainly is, but that's not the answer we're looking for. Anybody else want to jump in?
Basically, if you have to let a buyer go, that there's a lot more out there.
That's their answer, okay? Because a lot of these buyers are not serious, right, to use that word, and you need to know when to let them go because wasting your time with them means not spending time with somebody who is a serious buyer, okay? You live in a world of abundance, which means we're not clinging to every buyer who just kind of identifies themselves. We need to make sure they are, okay? My only limit is time, well that speaks to that, okay? And my only limited time means, right, you only have 24 hours in your day to be as successful as you can possibly be, so if you waste any of that, that's a problem, right? Okay? And the thing about my only limit is time is, you're gonna find out whether or not this buyer is taking you for a ride at some point. Do you want that to be 6 months from now, or do you want that to be next week, right? So you need to be looking for the signs. Focus is the key to success. Duplicable processes and systems lead to successful results. That one, very important because we're giving you a system that you can literally plug every single buyer that you have into, right? And your success will be guaranteed much more often when you're using the exact same system every time. And that's the beautiful part about this. You absolutely can use the exact same system every time. Okay? It's unacceptable for my business to earn $0. Okay? Barbara, you're taking a buyer out. You've been showing them houses for a while, they haven't bought anything. So explain to me how that belief is very important. It's unacceptable for my business to earn $0.
Well, I have expenses, I can't just be running around.
Correct. Are you making any money showing houses?
No.
Absolutely not. You're not in the business of showing houses. You're in the business of selling houses, right? It can be fun when you go out a few times with a friend, but after a while, you don't want to be wasting your time, okay? So that's important right there. It's win or win or no deal. We'll definitely go over that more. I will not convert 100% of the leads I do not generate.
You have chairs?
Come on in. Yes, we have a chair right here.
You need a binder? Pull it off.
No, not yet. Okay, we're right in the very beginning, so we're just going over some beliefs, okay? This is for buyer conversion.
Kara, Jeff.
Hi.
Kara.
Kara, that's your name?
Kara.
Kara. Okay. So we're going to put you right on the spot right now, okay?
Jump right in.
And don't worry about it, okay? But I want to see if you can answer this one. So you're working, the whole idea here is you're working with buyers, right?
Okay.
Okay, so these are beliefs you need to have inside of you to be successful working with buyers.
Okay.
So my question is, I will not convert 100% of the leads I do not generate. What do you think that means towards being successful, and why is that important to believe?
In my opinion, I think it's like So you still hold some sort of moral, like you don't become completely desperate to think that you automatically have to convert everything, you know, that you come in contact with. Remember
I actually like that answer, but that's not the answer we're looking for. But I do like that answer. I do like the way you're thinking about that. No, who can help her? I will not convert 100% of leads I do not generate. Barbara,
If you don't generate, you can go.
if you're not going out and asking for leads, then this class is useless. That's the point, okay? Because you're not going to be able to plug anybody into your system unless you're going out and finding the buyer leads, okay? That's why that's important. Thank you, though. I appreciate that. Okay, we've already gone over time reveals all. People will trust and follow what I can logically and tangibly explain. That's an important one because your whole goal here is to logically and tangibly explain to them the system that you're doing and the reason for doing it and how it's going to get them the home they're looking for. And if they're not following that, that can be a problem. Could be your problem. Could be the reason you're not explaining everything properly. That's why we have the scripts. Could be their problem. They're not rational, but we need to figure that out. Okay? But you need to believe that, otherwise you won't operate that way. Okay. The most important, however, are 11 through 14. Okay? Really 10 through 14. But we're talking about buyers here. Okay? You're new, but have you ever heard the saying, buyers are liars? You've heard that before, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys think, Suzanne, you've been doing it for a long time. Are buyers liars?
I don't think so. I think it's the lack of qualifying of an agent.
So buyers are liars because we haven't done a good enough job figuring out if they're serious. That's the same way as saying serious. Okay, but they don't know, they're not lying to you. They don't know that that's, they're not looking for, they don't know that I want a single family house versus a condo versus a townhouse. When they go send you to look at all those things, you need to qualify them. You need to make sure of those things, right? So, time reveals all is you're going to figure that out before long, right? You want to figure that out sooner rather than later. Motivated, qualified, and loyal people. MQL. We actually use those initials to say whether a person is or isn't somebody you should be working with. Are they MQL? They better be at least two of those three. What's the difference? Motivated, qualified, and loyal people buy homes. Hey, Maria. What's the difference between, what does motivated mean when it comes to buyers?
So motivated, so they're ready to buy right now.
Correct. If they're motivated, they see the house of their dreams, they're gonna buy it, right? But how many people have worked with somebody that this is the perfect house for them as far as any indication goes, and then you said, let's write up a contract, and they didn't do it, right? So maybe they weren't as motivated as you thought they were, okay? Qualified, then what does that mean?
That they're able to buy the house.
That they're able to buy.
Right.
That they're motivated, they found a house they like, and they're gonna put in a contract, but then the next step is, can they afford that house? And that's a very important thing. And just because somebody says they can, doesn't mean they can. And just because you think you know somebody's rich and has a lot of money, doesn't mean they can afford that house. Doesn't mean they can qualify for a mortgage. They may actually be rich, but with plenty of other problems, credit problems and whatever. Okay, I've seen that as well. So never assume that, right? You assume this guy's rich. Oh man, I know he's got loads of money. I know he can buy. So let's go look. We're looking at $2 million houses. This is fun. We're doing this for 6 months already now. Why isn't he buying anything? And then when he goes to finally put in a contract, that's when the hammer drops and they tell you, oh, we can't afford that. Right? Nobody's going to give him a loan for that. You don't want to waste your time. And then loyal. Loyal, Jason, what does that mean?
That they're not using multiple agents. You get them to sign a buyer's agreement.
Basically, that when the right house is found and they're qualified to buy it, that they will, and they will do it with you. And that there's no risk of them seeing an open house and walking in and cutting you out of the deal. And again, that's all on you to make sure that that happens. And you mentioned buyer brokerage agreement. You can certainly.
I would have them sign that before you even.
That is guaranteeing that they're loyal, absolutely.
Yeah.
But through conversation and these people don't, look, if this person is maliciously trying to screw you, I wouldn't be working with them to begin with.
Yeah.
So most of them, if they violate being loyal, they're not really doing it on purpose. They don't want to, screw you out of the deal or hurt you, right? But this has happened to me where somebody is driving, they weren't even looking to go see homes. but they happen to pass a for sale by owner and they, oh shoot, he's got his door open, let's go walk in. And then like 45 minutes later, they're under contract. He didn't know he should call me. I didn't tell him he should call me. He didn't know he could. He thought, he didn't know the seller would offer a commission. Lots of things they didn't know. They're ignorant to that stuff. They should be. It's not their profession. So it was on me and I didn't let them know ahead of time. I didn't guarantee them to be loyal. That's what that means, okay? Having a process reduces the risk that comes with buyers. What's the risk that comes with buyers? After what I just told you, what do you think the risk that comes with buyers is?
Them buying with going with another deal.
Not buying with you is the point, or not buying at all, wasting your time. That's the risk that comes with buyers, okay? And if they won't meet me, they're not a buyer. One of the things we're going to show you in this system is the first step is getting them to meet you here in the office, not to go meet you at a house to go see. And why do we want them to meet you in the office? Well, there's a few reasons we'll go over, but one of the main ones is it's literally a test of how serious they are, because if they won't meet me, they're not a buyer, okay? If they won't take an hour to focus, I don't know how serious they are, right? And A buyers, and who knows what an A buyer is?
Motivated, qualified.
Correct.
And loyal.
Motivated, qualified, and loyal makes them an A buyer. They deserve my immediate time and attention, right? And again, that's a belief. These are all beliefs you need to have, which means you know this person is motivated, qualified, and loyal. You're my priority. Makes my choice very easy. I'm going to work with you. You're motivated. I don't know if you're qualified. I'm going to work with Maria right now. Maria is my first priority. You see how that works? Okay. So always beliefs you need to be having, okay? All right. 7 vital listing response. I don't know why it says listing. We're talking about buyers. So 7 vital buyer responsibilities, okay? We are working between 2 and 4 today. We've already assumed you've generated the lead, so you found your buyer, right? Okay? So we're talking about converting them, attracting them to somebody who's a client for you, and a motivated, qualified, and loyal client, right? We're working on the admin prep that goes in that, and we're working on the showing of the properties, okay? That's what we're covering today. Likewise, this is the vital activities worksheet. If you don't know what this is, don't worry about it, but we're going over steps 2 through 22 on this one. From everywhere from meeting them in the office to finalizing an offer. Okay, that's the steps we're going over today. Okay, so buyer department basics. Your real estate business, whether it's a one-person show or you have a team, needs a buyer's department. We agree with that? Right? Buyers will fall into your lap. The more successful you are, do you just give them away? I mean, some agents actually do. But it would be nice if your business, let's say it's so successful you don't have time, can still handle it, you'd make more money, wouldn't you? Okay, so you need to have a buyer's department no matter how big your business is. And just like your business overall, that should have a mission and a vision. Well, we're going to give you some of that here. So your mission should be to ensure buyers who work with me get the home they want and want the home they get. And by the way, when you go meet with a buyer and you tell them, hey, I have a mission statement for my business and it's this, that's going to sound ultra professional, okay? Do you have to? No. But could you? And would it be nice? And would it be something that they would like to hear? Yes. So you can even put this on, we have listing presentations. You can have a little bio for working with buyers and put that kind of stuff on there. It's only professional, okay? Vision, serious buyers taking an intentional, proactive, and focused approach to finding and purchasing their perfect home. And again, I kind of talked about it on the first page, but again, the mission isn't where serious shows up. The vision is where serious shows up, okay? And the difference between the mission and the vision is what you're basically promising to the people you work with. But the vision is is basically the morality of your business. It's basically how your business operates. And here it's you will do these things and find a perfect home as long as your buyers are serious. Right? It's putting the onus back on them a little bit. Talked about the model we're going to use, relationship-based selling. I'm going to jump over the approach because that's kind of confusing. This is basically everything that happens from start to finish. Okay, and I don't know why they even listed here, truthfully. The key indicators of success on the bottom. These are important. Because these are things you need to begin tracking when you work with buyers. When you work with sellers as well, you should be tracking all of your statistics and understanding where you need to get better. That's the whole point. But also because with buyers, you could be selling these statistics, such as the percent of car riders who find and buy their perfect home with you, right? Jason, how could you use that to get another buyer?
The percent of car riders?
Yeah.
Talking as far as overall, how many people that ride with me end up buying?
Let's simplify it. Let's say you've had 10 people go in the car with you to search for their perfect home. How many of those 10 people bought their perfect home?
Say 50%.
Well, we would hope you could say 10, right?
Yeah, I know.
If the answer is 5, you made 5 sales, so congratulations, right? But 50% sounds a lot worse than 100. The point is, if it is a big number like that, 100%, you're going to be able to tell the next buyer, hey Maria, you should work with me. Why should I work with you? Well, you should work with me because when I put buyers in my car, 100% of the times they find their perfect home. Is that a pretty good thing to tell somebody? So that's one reason to be keeping track of that. List price to sales price ratio. When you're selling a home, you want that to be very close, don't you? When you're buying a home, you'd like it to be a little lower because you want to show how good negotiating you are, right? I cut that thing down by 25% every time I make a negotiation. That's a pretty good thing to tell people, right? People want to save money. You work with me, we're going to find my perfect home, and we're going to save you money. Average number of homes viewed, that all goes into that as well, right? You'd like to be able to tell somebody that when you sit in my car, we see at most 10 houses and boom, you found your dream home. As opposed to we have to go out 4 times and see 50 homes before you finally find something you like. Okay? And truly, that is all factors built into making sure these people are serious. Into this system that we're going to give you and making sure that they're focused on exactly the home they do want because their own minds are going to be jumbled in all over the place and you need to focus them. And when you're able to do that successfully, it helps ensure you're going to only see 10 homes before you find the perfect one.
Is there some sort of template that you have as far as like a survey that you can do for yourself?
What do you mean?
Do that, meaning at the end of buyer or seller experience it says.
No, I don't have a template, but I certainly don't disagree or think that that's not a good idea.
Because
to
you
do
can
that.
see what areas that you might need improvement on. Just tell them to be honest. Is it truly exceptional or whatever?
I don't have any problem with you creating something like that. But if you could perceive that as being something that's successful for you, do it. Create it your own. And then you have buyer satisfaction ranking, which is basically what you just said, and testimonials. Again, right, we have Zillow and we have all these places that you can get a review on. Well, ask for the reviews. Just like asking for the lead, ask for the reviews too, because you want more of those. Because those are other people. When you say I sell 100% of the homes, I put people in there. Okay, that sounds great. When other people say it, then other people, like my wife doesn't buy anything if she doesn't see at least 10 good reviews for it, right? And most of the time doesn't even trust the reviews she reads online. It has to be people she knows. Okay? So I'm serious though. I'm telling you, you do a good job for your best friend. Right now you're new, you want to find some friend out there, family member, and I'm promising you, and this is a little sidetrack, but I promise you, they are not going to just all say, please be my realtor. You're going to have to prove to them that you could do a good job because they know you. Right? And sometimes that's not a good thing. Sometimes because you're not a realtor to them, you're whatever else you've been or however else you have a relationship with them, you prove to them you do a good job, but then they'll tell all the rest of your friends how good a job you've done. Right? Once you prove it to them. And believe me, it's stronger coming from them than it is coming from you or anybody else. So those are all very important. We understand that, right? We want to keep track of that stuff. All right. Now we're jumping into the stages of working with a buyer. There are 5 of them. And what does it say at the top, just to reiterate? Having a process, and there it is, reduces the risk that comes with buyers. Okay? So, pre-conversation activities. When do you think those happen?
No.
Right? Before the conversation, right? You are going to meet in the office, right? That's where you're meeting. Can you meet at Starbucks?
Sure.
Yes. Sure. Yes, you can. That's why I built a beautiful office for you guys to come meet in here. It's opposed to Starbucks, but you can meet somewhere, but it should be a quiet location, okay? And it should not be their house. However, meeting in their house is better than just meeting at the property, gonna tell you that right now. Okay, move to the conference room, not the car. What does that mean? It doesn't mean you actually have to be in the conference room. It's just you are going to sit down and have a conversation before we start seeing houses, okay? And build rapport would be the first thing before you get into anything to do with finding them their perfect home. You want to make sure these people are comfortable with you. Does that have to be a long process? No. Maybe they're already comfortable with you, and then you're okay. But you want to start building rapport. You want to make them feel confident in you, comfortable with you. They like you now. Okay, good. Now this makes this whole conversation a lot easier. Okay? Then we're going to set the tone for the whole thing by delivering message number 1, which is the win-win conversation. By the way, we're going to delve into this much more deeply. However, if I told you to have a conversation establishing parameters for a win-win relationship, would you be able to, on the spot, have a conversation with somebody about that? You're not talking about anything specific. You're just trying to let them know that, hey, if we work together here, it's going to be a win-win relationship, right? That's the point I'm trying to make here, guys. Right now, you're waiting for a script. You can go get Kay to get you a chair. Right now, you're waiting for a script to know what to say. But the truth is, I don't want you thinking about scripts. I want you thinking about concepts. So the first thing you're going to be saying to these people is setting the tone for the whole thing. It's delivering the win-win conversation. Right? If you win, I win. It's very simple. Right? So we're going to give you the script. Don't worry about that. But I'm just trying to get you to understand that it's all about concepts behind it, not the words you're saying. Okay? Message number 2, once you've delivered win-win, is going to be defining their perfect home. You're going to be uncovering the buyer's needs and wants in that home. And real quick, who knows the difference between a need and a want?
A need is more of a necessity, where a want, you don't need it.
Correct. Absolutely. So then you're going to prioritize the wants. Why aren't you prioritizing the needs? Maria, why don't you prioritize the needs?
Needs what must be in the home. And
Because every house you show them should have
these features.
the needs, right? There's no reason to prioritize those. The wants need to be prioritized, right? Because I want a pool, I want a 3-car garage, and I want a horseshoe driveway, right? I really, really, really want a pool. If you can find me a pool without a horseshoe driveway, no big deal, right? So we would be ranking pool above horseshoe driveway, right? So that's why you need to prioritize those, because it's very often, most of the time, in fact, you'll never find them their perfect home. It's got to be most, unless they want to pay for it, and even then, unless they design the thing, it's not going to be perfect, right? So it's got to be the best match for them, right? Especially in a market where there's not a whole lot of homes on the market, right? Still got to move. Okay? So you want to prioritize those things. Furthermore, it lets them understand, when put down on paper, it focuses their own brain into thinking, well, I already said that that's not that important, so if I don't find a house with that, I'm going to be okay. You don't have that conversation, they can throw a tantrum when they see that house without their horseshoe driveway, right? It just helps drive the point home. Okay. Verify buyer motivation, right? The first test of that was meeting you in the office. We're going to give you another test of that right there. Okay? You're constantly trying to verify their motivation. Constantly looking for red flags. And then you're going to check their financial ability, because once you make sure that they're motivated, they better be qualified. Okay? Message number 3, and this is all in the same sit-down meeting, right? 1 hour meeting or less. Message number 3 is going over roles and expectations. You're going to be covering mutual expectations, things that they should be expecting from you, but also, yes, things that you're going to be expecting from them throughout this process, right? You will then gain agreement on those roles, right? And then you're going to close that meeting, right? Then post-conversation activities happen, homework and prep, and in the case of a realtor who's trying to find a buyer houses, what do you think homework and prep is?
Just prepare the list of the houses to see on the next.
Find the houses that they want, right, exactly. You will then show them the homes that meet their criteria, and you will close them to an informed, intelligent offer, right? Intelligent offer, $100,000 less than asking price. Not always an intelligent offer, but that's all part of this process, okay? All right, so we're starting from the very beginning. Meet them in the office, right? Time reveals all. Always, the red at the top is one of those beliefs. And this page is all about the fact that you'll find out before long, hopefully before long, whether or not these people are wasting your time, right? But don't you want to do that quicker, right? So, what does it say? Don't be a Pavlovian realtor. Who knows who Pavlov is? I'm not looking at you because he's Russian. Who knows who Pavlov is?
Is that the cat guy?
He's the dog guy.
Oh, the dog guy with the bell.
He's the dog guy with the bell. That's right. Okay, quick science history lesson here. Or psychology history lesson. Pavlov was a psychologist, right? He did an experiment. He had dogs, okay? When he would ring a bell, he would feed the dogs. He did that over and over and over. Okay, it's called classically conditioning. The dogs learn that when the bell rings, the food comes. So what did they do? They started salivating, right? They got ready to eat. Bell rings, ready to eat. Bell rings, ready to eat. Until one day he did not provide them with food, but he still rang the bell. And what do you think the dogs did?
Attack them? That's what I would do.
If you were a dog, okay. No, they tried to attack the food that wasn't there, right? They salivated. They expected food to come, food wasn't there, right? Because they were already conditioned that when a bell rings, expect food, right? That's how you could train somebody to do something like that, right? So, we don't want you to be Pavlovian, which means the phone rings, it's a potential buyer, don't start salivating. Let's just go look at houses. Do it, come on, let's go, right? You don't want that. What you want is to be professionally skeptical, right? You're a consultant, right? This is your business. When you go into an attorney's office, you don't tell him how to do his business, right? He's got a process. Okay, let's sit down, let's talk about this, right? You're following his lead. Should be the same way, okay? So when the phone rings and it's a potential buyer, you move them into the process, right? You take a step back and you're professionally skeptical. You're not sure this is somebody you even want to work with yet, but let's just start putting that person in the process, which is going to allow you to figure that out, okay? All right. Take control. You're the professional. It's very important. Especially for newer agents. You need to understand and believe you're the professional, because these people do really not respect your profession. Lots of people don't. Lots of people don't think you're really even worth what you get paid. You need to show them that you are by being professional and by taking control of the situation. And you have to have the belief, otherwise you're going to let them walk all over you. Okay? All right. Ask for the meeting, right? This is a dialogue for anybody who hasn't gone to any of our lead generating classes, okay? It's what we would say to somebody to get them to come to this meeting for finding them their home, okay? So it's, are you currently in the market for a new home? Okay, you can be anywhere, by the way, right? You're out at the movies, you're out at a restaurant, at a bar, you're with friends, you're anywhere, and the topic of real estate comes up in conversation, right? Well, so hey, are you currently in the market for a new home? Yeah, I am. Well, how are you going about finding that